The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Talk about the main event in the featherweight division for the vacant featherweight championship, the undisputed vacant featherweight championship. We had your former champion Alexander Volkanovski defeating up-and-comer Diego Lopes by unanimous decision. I thought that first round, Volk looked really good. Stunned Lopez a couple of times on the feet and then tripped him and beat him on the ground to end that round out. And then in that second round, it was more pressure by Volk. He cracked Lopez pretty good with a little less than 2 minutes left in that round. And I don't know when it happened, but Lopez busted Volk somewhere along that round. And then later on, he dropped him with that right overhand with about 10 seconds left. And then in that third round, it was a good back and forth that could have went either way. But on the judges' card, Volk took it. And then in that fourth round, Lopez hurt Volk with that jab and uppercut. And then Volk was on his bicycle backpedaling. That was probably Lopez's best round when I went back then, rewatched that round. And then in that fifth round, Volk was working that jab, had more volumes. But Lopez seemed like the more powerful fighter, but he just didn't put the pedal to the metal as much as he should have. And I think the name of the game was Volk had more output and was able to get that decision. What were your thoughts on this one, Steve?
Yeah, competitive. Lopez, as far as somebody young coming up, he definitely deserves to be up there at the top of the rankings. I liked it. It was intense. You can see that he wasn't scared of him and telling him to come on in the middle of his, stance advances. I thought that was pretty cool. But then again, I saw he got stung and he stopped having that intensity of his face and took him seriously as far as respect. So I definitely think he gained his respect against Volkanovski and saw him that he was able to get his hurt Volkanovski also. I can say Volkanovski did enough to win, but it was definitely competitive enough that if something were to slip through as far as a strike or a submission, it could have easily went to Lopez.
Chris?
Lopez looked good throughout the fight. I like his aggressiveness. The problem is Volk was just throwing more punches. You know, he got to him a little bit more. He threw more. And Volk looked good too. Volk was throwing Lopez threw one. Volk was throwing 3 punches at a time. But I like the aggressiveness from Lopez, man. He just kept the fight going forward for most of the fight. In my eyes, I was looking at it. But Volk just threw more punches and bunches to me. You know, that's the name of the game. You got to throw more punches, be a little bit more aggressive. Even though Lopez was showing the aggressive side, he just wasn't throwing enough punches to be to his suit of being aggressive.
So, you think it was Lopez, or let me rephrase this, was this Volkanovski style maybe frustrating Lopez a little bit, or did the bright lights kind of get to Lopez and he's a little bit gun shy?
No, I think, Volk was fighting off his back foot. Lopez was chasing him down. He was in front of his face trying to get to him, but Volk was out there throwing 3 or 4 punches off his back foot. That's a hard thing to do. And he was out there throwing, grabbing them, and moving in different directions. He was giving it all. It was a great performance by Volk, to be honest with you. I just like the aggressiveness from Lopez not backing up and not being scared. But Volk threw a good fight, man. He was on his back toe fighting.
Steve?
Yeah. As far as what you're asking, as far as Volk.
Yeah, did his style maybe frustrate Lopez a little bit, or did the bright lights get to Lopez?
Definitely. It seems like at a certain point, if things aren't picking up, Volkanovski kicks it in and starts doing almost like a series of different combinations, left, right, and then a leg kick. Go for the takedown. He's an all-around mixed martial artist, and it definitely has, like we say, he has enough power to be respected as a featherweight as far as punching power. I think that's what did it for him. It's like, how do you win against somebody that's a shorter person and kind of a tank that can have durability for people that you probably would be able to knock out, you know, and because we all know Volkanovski is very durable, and I think that adds to his style to even get through him.
Yeah, definitely interesting clash of styles, and I thought Lopez would probably be able to use that range a little bit more to kind of dictate the fight a little bit, but I know that comes to show you how high level Volkanovski still operating at, even though he had he went through the string of losses. But if you go back and look at the losses, two were not even his natural division, with the two Makachev fights that happened pretty close together. And then the champ that just vacated the belt, Ilya Topuria, I mean, he got knocked out. That's the only thing that was concerning me going to this fight, that he got finished in his past two fights. And, you know, once that glass jar gets open, it keeps opening itself back up in the future. But yeah, Volkanovski, he's what, 30? He just turned 30. Oh, he's still 36. I thought he was a little bit older than me. He's a little bit younger. Able to get his his championship. He's on his second reign, and he put on a historic run his first go around and pretty much beat everybody until he decided to, test his greatness and go up a weight division. And didn't work out for him, like I said earlier, against Makachev. Then he lost to Topuria, and Topuria vacated the title. Will him not beating Topuria always linger over his head until maybe he gets that rematch back, you think, Chris?
Of course, you got to get the rematch you lost, especially being the champ. No one's going to really respect it until you defend the losses you got. So got to get that win. I'll try to.
What do you think, Steve, that the fact that he didn't beat Topuria just vacated the belt and went up in division?
Well, it definitely shuts his options up for going up or down a class if he wants to do that. I mean, probably definitely not going anywhere down. So he's just stuck there, like you said, with a person that's undecisive, or we really don't know what's going on. Topuria can be like a boogeyman. Like, damn, is he gonna come back to featherweight? Wait, he's like, that's probably over Volk's head right now, because that was a vicious, controlled knockout that he got from Topuria. So that could be bad for Volk, but we just have to see.
Well, like, what's Volkanovski's motivation at this point? Because since Topuria only defended the belt once, we could still say comfortably Volkanovski is the greatest featherweight in UFC history. But like I said, he's pretty much ran through everybody at this point. How many times did he beat Holloway? 2 or 3 times? I can't remember, Steve.
Who?
Volkanovski, how many times did he beat Holloway? 3 times, right? Yeah, 3 times. Yeah, 3 times.
The motivation, though, if you're looking for the motivation, is always to be the champ, regardless of whoever's there. So if you have an opportunity to be the champion, why not take it? And he had the opportunity to be the champ, so that's the motivation if I'm him.
But he like I said, he's no spring chicken, and he's already beaten most of these cats already at least once. And I'm going through the featherweight rankings right now. They still have UFC's official website still has Topuria as a champion, so they need to get their shit together. As far as this is supposed to be a pro organization, and they hadn't updated that. But Holloway, who I said he's beaten 3 times already, Lopez is 3. You got Mobzar Evilov. That might be an interesting fight because he hadn't faced him yet. So I mean, I guess he does have a few contenders that are below. He already beat Yair, like I think you mentioned that earlier, Steve. And,
yeah.
He finished Yair. He beat Ortega. I remember watching that fight. Arnold Allen. I don't even know if Arnold Allen name is big enough at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that, Steve.
I think what he should do to get his points back is an automatic campaign for Eli to come back down. Because everything else will fall on the line. At least it will bring controversy up to where, I mean, to me, being a fan, I wouldn't have brought it up if that's not what I'm looking at. I'm like, bring him back down. You come back down here. Start talking that smack. Bring your ass back down here to 145. Where are you going? You got some business to do. And I think that would be the perfect outlet. But, you know.
Yeah, but Ilya vacated the title for a reason. I don't know if he will come back now. Maybe we'd have to see what happens with Superior. I'm sure he's gonna try to vie for that Islam fight. So maybe if he loses to Islam, I think he would probably try to. He had a bet, or Volkanovski would have a better case to lowering Ilya back down if he loses to Makhachev, right?
I can see that.
But if Superior goes and fucks around and beats Makhachev, nobody's able to crack that puzzle, then I think Volkanovski's shit out of luck, right?
Yeah. In a hard place.
Yeah, I mean, like Chris said, I guess he just has to, be motivated just to see how long he can keep it the second go around. But there's not a whole lot of contenders that he hasn't beat, so I doubt he'll go for a fourth Max fight. Because even though he beat Max 3 times, Max could still fuck around and knock him out.
Yeah, you don't go up that. You already beat him 3 times. You don't need to go down that route. But you know what? If I'm him, if he's comfortable here, run it back with everybody. Bump it. I'm the champ. Come get it.
Well, we saw what happened after beating a person 3 times and then going for the 4th fight. It was Pacquiao and
they figure you out.
It was a Pacquiao and it wasn't Margarito. It was
Marquez.
Yeah, Marquez. It was Pacquiao Marquez. I don't think Pacquiao's woken up since then. What was Stephen A saying? Manny, are you okay? After that, that was bad. So that 4th time, like you said, Chris, somebody may be able to figure out and crack that code. So I don't know, man. I'm like the statistics that they said this is the first time somebody over the age of 35 has won a title match or in the weight classes of I think 155 and lower.
Wow.
So you only see it with the higher weight classes and older fighters. So heavy is the head that wears the crown. So he has a lot to do to fend off some of these young bucks, because if they don't do the rematches, then he just has to go younger on that second half of the top 10 are younger fighters, and then 15 through 10 are definitely younger fighters. So the matchmakers got some work to do as far as figuring out who he faces next. But yeah, hats off to Volkanovski. It's hard to win the title 1 time, not to mention 2 times. So it was impressive win. He did what he needed to do to win the title. Thank you for checking out this Haymaker Combat Sports segment. This full episode can be found on the Haymaker Combat Sports YouTube page and in audio form on all major podcast platforms. Until next time, peace.